I would like to invite our esteemed speakers to join us on stage for the next panel discussion, Governing AI for Public Value, Trust, Inclusion, and Economic Impact. Let's give a big round of applause to our panelists, Hans Christensen, Vice President Dtec, Dubai Technology Entrepreneur Campus. Good afternoon, Mr. Hans. Please join us on stage and take your seat on the left side. And next up, ladies and gentlemen, we have Sujala Pant, Deputy Resident Representative UNDP Indonesia. Good afternoon, Ms. Sujala Pant. Please take your seat right here. And ladies and gentlemen, next up we have Eryk Pratama, Vice Chairman of Standing Committee for AI and PDP Indonesian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, KADIN. Good afternoon, Mr. Eryk. Please take your seat in the center. And next we have Wilbertus Darmadi, CIO, Toyota Astra Motors. Good afternoon, sir. And last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, let's give a big round of applause to our moderator, Joko Umar, CEO Globalin PT Sinergi Mutual Globalindo.
Thank you, Ms. Cynthia.
Thank you so much. And without further ado, over to you, our moderator.
All right, good afternoon, people. So how are you? One of the most challenging decisions after lunch, people are often sleepy and screen checking. But I hope for this session, which is very critical, that I hope that you are spot on to the stage. Governing AI for public value, where we have seen the esteemed panelists here across from the industry, ecosystem builders, and also for the industry corporates. And we start by the first session starting from Ms. Sujala from the UNDP. All right, because this session is very crucial, we are divided into the first and the second round. For the first round, we explore about the how we are now. And for the second round, it will be how the Indonesian readiness to see the roadmap for the vision 2045. Okay, Ms. Sujala, around the world, we are seeing create the opportunity and inequality. For example, that in the global economy, there are some challenging happens occur between the double-edged sword happening around the global shaping economies. But my question here, from the UNDP perspective, what should Indonesia to ensure become a force inclusion rather than exclusions? Over to you.
Okay, thank you very much, and good afternoon. Selamat sore, everybody. So I think I'd like to begin by saying that obviously AI is an unprecedented transformation that's happening globally in Indonesia and in the world. Unlike other revolutions that we've seen in the past, it's really about transforming cognitive abilities, which has its own sort of challenges. But of course, it is a huge opportunity economically as well. I want to focus perhaps on the ASEAN region, where estimates predict that up to 18% can, as a bloc, the GDP can be boosted by almost 18%. In Indonesia, that number, that percentage is about 12%. So the economic potential is huge. But of course, there are many risks that come with it, and this is the double-edged sword that you were referring to. In late last year, UNDP's regional flagship report called The Next Great Divergence came out. And here we outline some of the potential risks that AI will bring, which is around economic gaps that can widen, existing inequalities that can be exacerbated, and exclusion of people from the huge potential benefits. So it's really about power, it's about access, and it's about agency. So in that context, where would or could Indonesia really focus and prioritize its investments? Of course, I know you have policymakers throughout the 2 days, but from our perspective, there's 3 dimensions that I'd like to highlight. One is against the context that a lot of the AI that we use today is basically developed by a handful of countries. I think 4 or 5 countries, companies based in those countries, which means it's not very reflective of the realities of Indonesia and the huge diversity of this country. So Indonesia really needs to shape AI, build it with intent and not just accidentally. And this is one of Minister Pratikno's viewpoints as well, which he shared with us. And the whole notion of sovereign AI is very critical because of the size of Indonesia, both in terms of the population, but its market size and economic potential, because of its diversity. What makes sense, something developed in another part of the world does not necessarily reflect the realities of this huge country. And so the sovereignty of AI, Indonesian built for Indonesia, in Indonesia, I think becomes really important. But that comes at a huge cost. And this brings me to my second point, which is sustainable AI.
Yes.
The footprint on natural resources is massive. We know that questions, every time we use an AI-generated sort of platform, it uses almost 1.5 times as much electricity, 10 times more electricity than a normal web search, for instance, right? So in countries that are still kind of struggling with access to electricity for other purposes, this is a trade-off that we have to be mindful of. Water. To cool down one data center, we're talking about 5 million gallons of water, right? So that sustainability angle, I think, really has to be embedded as Indonesia kind of takes the next step in terms of building its AI infrastructure, both in the infrastructure perspective, but also in the content and how he wants to embed some of these values. And we've seen examples. We know the technologies exist for that. Seawater has been recycled, for instance, to cool down some of these floating data centers. But if I had to choose one thing, it would be about investment in people. Because without the sort of knowledge that people need to be able to use AI effectively, I think the potential will be lost. And so, people, young and old, men and women across the country, we're talking about from Aceh all the way to Papua, it's very different capacities, it's very different understanding which need to be addressed. So learning how to maximize the use of AI effectively and responsibly becomes quite critical. Public servants as well, for instance. There is a transition happening. We hear a lot about the energy transition from traditional to renewable energy. This is a massive transition, and we need to make sure that it's just for the people who are likely to benefit from it the most. And to give you an example, if we link it to the 8% growth rate that the country has, the ambition that it has, the Golden Indonesia 2045, we have 64 million MSMEs in this country. And they're contributing almost 60% of the GDP. So what does this mean? What does AI mean for them? It means really simplifying processes. It's about managing inventory. It's about forecasting demand. It's about enabling better access to credit. And so the investments that we need to make in those human capacities, I think, become really critical if Indonesia is to take that next step in maximizing the benefits of AI.
That's very on point, Ms. Sujala. But I highlight one thing, just a little at the context here. Indonesia has a very populous country, the third biggest in Asia and also the biggest in Southeast Asia. But one thing that I highlight a little bit before we go to the next question for the panelists, the digital literacy and AI literacy including the disparity, economic disparity. That is the challenge that we have to overcome.
Yeah.
The government have to overcome. Just a little bit more addition to this context. What is the relevant strategy for the government to overcome this for the benefit of AI, for the inclusion of AI for everyone?
Yeah. Well, I think one of the challenges we've seen is that there are a huge, and I can't remember the percentage exactly, but there are a significant number of people who are neither employed, not in education, not in any kind of training. And you have a lot of vocational training centers in the country, right? The content of those vocational schools cannot be based on a curriculum that made sense 20 years ago. So if we want to if we want to ensure inclusivity, if we want to make that transition for workers who are likely to be left behind or young people entering the job market, I would argue that perhaps these vocational centers need to emphasize and bring in AI related knowledge, skills, capabilities as part of their curriculum to enhance the inclusion.
All right, thank you very much. All right, Pak Eryk, this question is for you. It's related governance, because you are coming from the policy and also vice president of the Chambers of Commerce Indonesia. This context around business under pressure to innovate versus government to safeguard public trust. My question, how can Indonesia strike the right balance between enabling innovations and responsibility governance without slowing the economy? So I mean that this is the two contraries that we look forward from your perspective. Over to you, Pak.
Yeah, thank you, Pak. So basically KADIN is partial, half government, half business. So I'm in the middle. So we are in the middle. So we see what government concern about how we can improve and leverage AI, but we know the industry needs. Yeah. So based on these two conditions, yeah, as per your questions, so I have terms what it's called like risk-based innovations.
Risk-based.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is like to contradict, yeah, risk management and innovations management, but yeah, we have to combine these two. So what it means by risk-based innovations? So we still can do our innovations with a guardrail. Yeah, so like for example, like if we drive a car, so we have we have to drive, yeah. So we can change the directions. We have to pull, yeah, to push our gas full gitu ya. But we have a brake, so we can control our speed. So this is like risk-based innovation. So how it can be implemented? First, yeah, we have to identify use case, Pak. Basically, either in private sector, because mostly I'm in private sector, and also in government, yeah. Mostly we have to start with a use case. So what is the problem in Indonesia? For example, yeah, we want to like cover the poverty, or maybe about environment, or maybe about stunting and etc. So based on the problem, yeah, we try to find how further AI can leverage, yeah, can solve this problem by identifying the correct and effective use case. Yeah, so maybe government has some priority or big programs, but the question is this big program, but is it necessary that we need AI? For example, if we want to reduce the poverty in Indonesia, do we need AI? Or maybe if we want to distribute social bansos, ya, bantuan sosial, so do we need AI? Because if we see, we have a fundamental problem, which is data. Yeah, data. Nah, that's why when we implement innovations, we have to, after we identify the use case, the second one is we do the classifications or prioritizations. So for example, if we want to have small medium enterprise, yeah, or UMKM, I think when we provide the guardrail, it will be different while we want to improve the high-risk AI implementation. For example, if we want to implement AI in our cyber defense, in our national security, it will be different with the small business. When we want, if the ministry have a program to improve the UMKM, the small medium enterprise, how we deliver the AI, how we select the technology, how we implement the controls or guardrail, yeah, in AI, and how we fund this initiative, it will be different when we implement the guardrail for high risk or very very important AI system. For example, in defense. So, for example, like okay, we know that in this era we have what we call disinformations, warfare. So the war now is not using gun, tank, etc. But now is the information warfare or cognitive warfare. That's why to combat this AI-based warfare, government should defense with AI. So it will be different when we bring the AI implementations to solve the poverty, to improve the SME business, business to improve their productivity and profit. So it will be different. So this is the second one. The last point, but maybe I've read that the time is up here. The last one is how we ensure we have the capability, capacity and capability. Capability means how smarter we are to solve this problem. Capacity is how big our capability, how big our numbers, our resources to solve this problem. At the end, it needs money, right? It needs funding. That's why that's why even we have a challenge with the funding from government, from APBN. I think if we can find a best solutions to solve the talent issue in Indonesia especially, I think this is at least it's the best way what we can do now, because we have a very tight APBN national budget. So at the end, talent is the one that we have to improve. I think from the talent itself, I think Indonesia a lot of free training, Bapak Ibu, a lot. I joined a lot of sessions for free, either from generic topics about LLM until the technical one, until how we optimize AI model. There are a lot of events free. That's why I think government can utilize these communities like the one that in partnership like Korika, IEC, Indonesia AI Society, AIS, and another association, even KADIN. So we can leverage our community to produce the best talents. Now, if we have the best talents, they can produce a best quality. I think their solutions will be adopted by government, and the government will implement it to solve the issue, to the use case that we defined earlier. I think it's like back to back. At the end, it's about the talent.
Okay.
This is from my perspective.
Thank you, Pak Eryk. So we see here that you emphasize for the workforce first before the technology, because the technology will rising very fast, but the workforce will support how we adopt the technology for the inclusion. Thank you, Pak. Okay, for the next question for Pak Wilbertus. Manufacturing is entering new era where AI, innovation, influence a lot, starting almost everything from the operation, workforce, productivity, and also for the system itself around the organization enterprises. So my question, from your experience, what does responsible AI adoption look like in a large company with 1,000 employees? Over to you, Pak.
Okay, thank you. So here actually I represent Toyota Astra Motor. We are distributor of the Toyota vehicle in Indonesia. So we are not only manufacture, but also we distribute it and also sell it to the customer through our dealer. So we are talking about the manufacturing and also retail and sales here. So if we are talking about the implementation of AI in enterprise, especially in Toyota Astra, first, if we are looking from the enterprise perspective, we are always talking about the ROI. What is the benefit for the business? So if we are talking ROI, the next question is, what is the business case? So we need to find the business case first, before we can say that we will implement it. The other side, when we are talking about the implemented AI, of course, there is a cost. Is it the cost that we will spend will give us the benefit or not? So back again, I'm talking that from my experience. Not everything can be solved by AI. Sometimes everybody have a misperception, misunderstanding. I give an example. So last year we have a kind of what we are called as an innovation day in our company. So every year we trigger all the employee so they can initiate one, two, or a group idea, yeah, to propose to the company a kind of the new idea. Yeah? So everybody, the participant, yeah, all the participant, all the group, they are coming with the team AI, the title AI. Yeah? One for the example is from the procurement, from the procurement team. Yeah? So they come with the example to speed up the approval process of the procurement using AI. So, they present everything. Then at the end, because I'm as a juror, the simple question for me is actually, from all your presentations, yeah, because they are talking about the approval through many desks, yeah. So start from the initiator, approved by the section head, approved by department head, division head, yeah. Then move to the procurement. So this is a division requester, move to the procurement, approved by section head, approved by department head, division head, and then before coming to the procurement, to the budget division. So there is so many layers of the approval. Yeah? So we are talking about the many layers of the approval here. So how AI can resolve this? Yeah? So that's not the point of the AI. Yeah? So they are thinking that the AI can resolve this issue. So I said that actually this is not the AI issue. Yeah? Because what you should do is simplify the business process. Why you need too many desks, too many layers of approval? Yeah? So that's a kind of example that not everything we can resolve with the AI. So what is the real business case first? Yeah, so from the enterprise, we are always asking what is the real business case. From my point of view, if we are talking the evolution of AI, yeah, we are talking from the generative AI, agentic AI, then now we are talking about the physical AI, yeah, autonomous AI. In retail and sales, yeah, they will most focus on generative AI than now agentic AI. But if we are talking the manufacturing, yeah, because your question is referred to the manufacturing, we are talking about the physical AI. Why? Because from my perspective, my opinion, yeah, if we are talking about the manufacturing, we are seeing the evolution, yeah, from the industry 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. Yeah. Now almost all the manufacturer is the smart factory. Yeah. Everything already automate. Everything already using a robot. Yeah. Robot is automation, not AI. Yeah, automation. So if we are talking about the factory, almost all the factory, not only the car, yeah, not only the car manufacturer, but almost all the manufacturer, they already automate, they're already using a robot. Yeah. So what is the AI case here? Yeah? I am talking about the physical AI here. Physical is the combination between the automations, if we are now about the robot, yeah, then with AI, embedded with the AI. So not replace the robot. Yeah. So AI will embed to the physical machine, physical infrastructure here in the factory. Then we'll have the manufacturing together with the automation to give the more advanced results. Yeah. So I'm talking about for example, yeah, if we are talking about the quality aspect in the manufacturing, yeah, rather than if previously we were using a robot, yeah, so welding robot, for example, yeah, we can embed into the robot some kind of the camera that can monitor the result of the welding, for example, yeah. Then the AI from the camera actually, yeah, they can filter which one the result of these welding machines, this is NG or not, yeah. So if NG, the AI then can create an alert and quickly notify to the next process, yeah. So that the kind of the example if we are applying in the manufacturing, yeah.
Okay.
But it needs time and also not easy. Yeah? But when we apply in the retail and sales and distribution, especially if we are talking all the business case facing to the customer,
All right.
I believe that will be more simple.
All right.
We can apply it more quickly.
Yeah, we got the points here that we highlight your critical points about how to use AI wisely. Not every single section that we have to adopt with the AI. I mean that from your experience that you will enable AI depending on the requirements, yes, on the business process. Okay, thank you, Pak. Okay, Mr. Hans. This context will revolve around best practice, ecosystem, and global startups. As we shared earlier before the session, that you are focusing on the startups as a best adopter, the first adopter of AI. So my questions, what is most critical aspect to create environment while AI can thrive to give impact for societal economic value? And what is the best practice that you can share for Indonesia? Over to you, Pak.
Sure. Thank you very much, Hugo, for that question. And also thank you very much to Trescon to have us here today. Today I'm representing the Dubai government on this trip. And also to give a little more question, why I got that question is because we have been nurturing and fostering the UAE ecosystem for startups for about 15 years. We've had some 3,000 startups going through our books, and at least 1,000 are there with us today. And in our DIEZA, Dubai Integrated Economic Zone, we have some 65,000 companies with us today. So thank you so much for that question. It's a key question. Is there a right answer to that question? No, but my approximation to that answer would be the following. So I think an AI ecosystem should be built on 3 foundations. It should have access, trust, and collaboration. The first is access. So founders need access to talent, to computing infrastructure, to funding, to customers, and high-quality data. I think Indonesia is working on all of these things. The problem is that if startups spend most of their time trying to access these resources, they actually will probably not be doing much innovating. The second is trust. AI only creates long-term value if people and organizations trust it. That means having clear governance, and you've probably seen what has happened the past couple of months. We had even the Pope, Leo XIV, come out with what was it called, a Magnifica Humanitas, 42,000 words on how to protect us from AI, especially the ethical side. Dario Amodei from Anthropic issued his own version. And you even had the US president protect us from Anthropic's 2 powerful new products, one of which is Fable. Very interesting. So that means having clear governance, responsible use of data, and regulation that provide certainty without slowing the innovation. The goal shouldn't be regulation versus innovation. They need to evolve together. The third is collaboration, and that's actually what I'm doing here today. I'm trying to meet as many people who want to work on AI with us in Dubai. And I have, thanks to Naveen and Trescon, had some fantastic meetings already. Governments, corporates, universities, and startups all have different strengths. The most successful ecosystems create opportunities for these groups to work together, whether through pilot programs, procurement. So as a government, we are actually a big taker of AI products, accelerators, and shared research. It's hard work, but it needs to be done. There is no way around it. And just to finish off, Dubai has been very intentional about building these foundations. The government has made AI a national priority through long-term strategies, invested heavily in digital infrastructure, and created an environment where startups can engage directly with government entities and industry leaders. And those who would like to engage with the Dubai government, feel free to see me afterwards. At Dtec, we see this every day. Our role is not just providing workspace, it's connecting founders with investors, corporate partners, and public sector stakeholders so ideas can move from concept to real-world deployment. And ultimately, AI innovation becomes valuable when it solves meaningful problems for businesses, governments, and citizens, not when it's innovation for innovation's sake. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hans. So you are not building, but you are creating the ecosystem among the stakeholders, government, incubators, and also
To be honest, it's one of the ecosystem we're building, but we're also building one for cybersecurity, for robotics, and for, we actually have 7 different areas. MedTech, one that's very big right now in Dubai is property tech.
Thank you. As we've seen that we are running out of time because we still have a round session and also the fireside question and also the Q&A with the audience. So for this round second, we will try not to overshoot and we try to add a question just to make it easy that we don't exceed the time provided. Okay. Will be direct to you, Ms. Sujala. This is around the hype, tech focus, complexity, and transparency. The question, what practical step can government and institutions take to build trust in AI among citizens? This question related to the first question that Indonesia has a huge population. So how this to your strategy and perspective to overcome this matter? Over to you.
Thank you very much. So I think building trust in AI, it also links to what Hans was just referring to. Perhaps the most obvious, one of the first obvious points is, we need strong, transparent governing frameworks and regulations that protect personal data. And Indonesia has that with the personal data protection law, as do many countries. Because people need confidence that when they're submitting various types of information, it's going to be used only for the intended purposes and not for other things. But we need to make that data protection credible and visible. So, that communication between the public sector, I'm with the United Nations Development Program, so a lot of our work is really about enhancing and working with public sector. So the interface between the public sector services and people it's trying to serve, that communication really needs to be ongoing and consistent. But it's also treating risks related to AI differently. Some risks are higher than others. And I think that is another dimension to show that whoever the proponents of AI are actually aware of those risks and that there are different treatments, mitigation measures being put in place. But it's also ensuring that there's human oversight for machine-made decisions. I think all of us as users of AI in one way or another, there's nothing more frustrating than keep talking to a machine on your WhatsApp and it just doesn't listen to you, right? Because it's just programmed to answer in a specific way. So I think that human element cannot be lost. Otherwise, we are kind of, giving the full autonomy to a machine, and I think we need to be careful. My second and third point very quickly are quite interlinked. And linked also to the first point I made about inclusion. I think it's knowing that your inputs and your voices in the way AI is used matters. And it is also about showing the impact and results. so that when we say we're using AI, there are actually greater societal benefits than you would have without it. I want to give two quick examples. One is the work we do with the Ministry of Health here in Indonesia, where initially we started with digitizing the logistical supply chains. Having that understanding of what medical commodities are where. And with the addition of an AI layer, it has enabled health centers in the most remote parts of the country to actually predict shortages, to predict potential needs, so that the health sector is able to respond to public demands, and it's able to fulfill its responsibility more meaningfully. Our panelists from Toyota spoke about return on investment. For the government, it's also about savings of public resources, right? So those can be reinvested. So huge amounts of savings because you're not wasting your stock of medicine or vaccines, for instance. The other is being heard. And I think, the sovereign AI that we talked about happens at different levels, right? But it's also, if I am giving some of my information, is it just going to be lost in the black hole that is the AI world? Or is it actually going to lead to tangible results that I can benefit from? We spoke about a $360 billion addition to the Indonesian economy by 2030. That needs to make sense for me as a person living in this community. And we see that at the village level through one of the AI tools that we have developed, which basically, instead of what we would have done traditionally, which is undertaking surveys to understand your needs, my needs, by filling out a survey on paper, traditionally, now people can send in their inputs through voice, through photos, through other means, and that is automatically translated into priorities that are then invested with the public resources. So it creates an ownership. And so for me, that trust really comes down to, yes, regulations, but is there something in it for me? Am I benefiting from this transformation that's happening in my community? I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, we get straight to you for the second session, Pak Eryk. This is about the roadmap of the Indonesian Vision 2045. As we can see, it is a quite long journey to reach the 2040. But however, Indonesia has to start from day one to build the roadmap, at least the short term and visions of the long term for the next 5 years. So my question, if Indonesia want to become a leading digital economy by 2045, what AI governance capabilities should be established within the next 5 years to attract the investor confidence and also the public trust?
Okay, yeah, thank you, Pak Joko. So basically, maybe if Bapak Ibu here doesn't aware that Indonesia has a roadmap for AI, national AI roadmap for 5 years, and also this year KOMDIGI already draft 2 presidential regulations or rancangan perpres about AI ethics and also about national roadmap for AI. Yeah, at least with these 2 presidential regulations, this is the commitment from the government, to show that Indonesia has commitment on this. Aside from this, now, in BSSN, because I'm also part of the national roadmap AI team. And at the same time, I'm also helping BSSN as part of National Task Force for Post-Quantum Cryptography. So that's why maybe you just Googling, what is post-quantum cryptography? It's related to quantum computing. So this is like the future threat that the quantum computing can break our existing security system now. So if you think that you believe your encryption now safe, it's not safe in the future because this kind of technology can break your today's encryptions. That's why government through KOMDIGI create the AI regulations, to leverage the importance of data governance for sure. And then in the same way, BSSN create the roadmap, and also draft the presidential regulation for post-quantum cryptography migrations. So similar with the AI use case, so the implementation of security enhancements, it is based on the prioritizations and the use case. So I think it's already answered the question of Pak Joko that if Indonesia want to be seen as the trusted country, so the first thing is we have to establish the government, national governance level to secure our AI implementations, basically. So after we identify even before we identify the use case, we have to define our national framework. Yeah, maybe Indonesia AI trustworthy framework or everything, the name. But the point is how the government collaborate with industry to regulate the AI adoptions in every industry. But the central government cannot work alone. They should work with the industry, with each of the ministries, yeah, and also with the local government atau Pemda atau Pemkot. So the central government should, and also the important one is also collaborate with international also. Like for example, like inviting external United Nations or maybe another party like IMF, ADB, etc. Because we need budget, right? So we need to collaborate with everyone. This is the one. The second one is for the next 5 years, we have to improve our AI capability. So I see that KOMDG has a collaboration with one of the principal, yeah, maybe if I can say the name, with Microsoft. They built Garuda AI. So Garuda AI is the training program run by Microsoft, Binar Academy, and KOMDG to train ASN atau pegawai negeri, ya, to leverage their capability in AI. So this is my answer, thank you.
All right, so we highlight that government cannot work alone, so the collaboration among the stakeholders, corporates, industry players, and also the innovators are very important to achieve that goals. Okay, we straight to you, Pak, because we don't have much time left. It's only about 6 minutes before the Q&A. I will get to straight to you about which skill do you believe will AI become most valuable in AI-enabled workforce, Pak? Just a little 2 minutes, I think. Over to you, Pak.
Yeah, back again, yeah, the benefit of AI. So what we are doing in Toyota Astra Motor, actually, we try to identify what I call as a low-hanging fruit. Yeah, so that's the kind of the business case using AI that we can apply quickly, yeah, and easily. For example, here I'm talking about the generative AI, because if we are talking the AI, there is like I previously mentioned, generative AI, agentic AI, autonomous AI, physical AI. So let's take the example of the generative AI. So we try to encourage our employee, yeah, especially the back office, yeah, because if we are talking the manufacturer, we don't expect them, for example, the operator of the machine to replace with the AI quickly, yeah. So for the back office, for example, for the marketing team, this is one example that we already apply in our company. Yeah. So previously to create what we are talking about, the market analysis or market research. Yeah. For example, when we are selling Avanza, for example, one of our model, then coming with the other competitor from the other brands. Yeah. So our marketing team usually they need to conduct a research market analysis. Previously, they used to collect the data one by one from the Excel. They need to take the external data also before they can create a market analysis. Yeah, maybe need 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah, but what we upload all the data, yeah, from the external, internal in our database. Then quickly with the simple prompting, yeah, with the assist by the AI. So this marketing guy, actually, they can speed up just prompting the AI, then the AI will give the result about the market analysis. So that's one of the example I call about the low-hanging fruit. So we try to empower our employee, so what they can quickly do from the low-hanging fruit example. That's we do, I think, in our company.
All right, thank you so much, Pak Wilbertus. Okay, last question for Mr. Hans. This question will be more around economic impact, as AI will support GDP as well for the country's GDP. So my question is, which common mistakes should emerging economies avoid for this? For example, we can suggest also for the industry player and also for the Indonesian government, comparing to the emerging economies to the developed economies as well. Over to you, Pak.
Yeah, so to paraphrase, what would be the economic driver of growth of the AI, I believe. Yeah, no, I'll probably frame the question slightly differently. I don't think it's a question of developed economies versus emerging economies. Some emerging markets are more incredibly quickly because they don't need to deal with the legacy systems. They can just invest straight into new, completely fresh infrastructure. Now, the real difference is, I think, is a country that is between countries that consume AI and those that create value with AI. So countries seeing the greatest economic impact, in my opinion, are integrating AI in priority sectors. So the right answer is different from country to country. Whether that's healthcare, manufacturing, logistics, education, or government services, as I mentioned before, prop tech is now big in Dubai. They focus on productivity, competitiveness, and creating new businesses rather than simply adopting the latest technology. One mistake, just to make it short, one mistake I think many ecosystems can make is focusing too much on the technology itself. AI is only valuable when it's connected to genuine market demand.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hans.
Did it extra short there.
Okay, because we have only less than 2 minutes actually for the Q&A session. Okay, audience, is there any question that you would like to address to our panelists here on the stage? I think we can give a chance to 1 or 2 questions. Please raise your hand if anybody asks the question.
It's the lunch. It's the lunch.
It's a lunch, yeah. Yeah, screen checking. Okay, if there's no question, maybe that we can have a crossfire question. This question will be addressed to all of you as you are representing from the ecosystem builders, policy, industry, and also the international UNDP. Okay. Indonesia's higher priority over the next 5 years, whether accelerating AI innovation or strengthening AI governance. I think, please, just a short one that around 1 minute or less.
Your question is whether to prioritize innovation or governance?
Just only a short answer.
I don't think it's either or. I think, again, because of the size of the Indonesian market, the diversity, that innovation needs to happen here. But the governance governing that innovation, the way information is utilized, the way data is utilized, the transparency of why certain investments are being made for the development of AI needs to be very clear for people to see that the investments that government and partners are making is valuable and goes beyond just maybe fancy technologies, but again has an impact on a day-to-day life.
Okay. What about you, Eryk? Just a short one before we close the session.
Yeah, to make it balanced, so basically I prefer we strengthen our governance. Why? Because even we don't manage even we don't have any national innovation program, maybe, but we see that a lot of Indonesia resources already creative, they have a lot of innovation, but the problem is there is no one that can sharpen their innovations to support the country's interests. Yeah, so they just go everywhere alone with unnecessary directions. That's why we strengthen the governance to make sure that their capability, their innovations can support a national agenda.
All right.
Pak. Thank you.
Okay, just for me, Pak.
From enterprise, governance first.
Government.
Then innovation. It doesn't mean that we need to limit the innovation. Yeah. What I mean is, in enterprise, if we are not put a policy in the government first, yeah. Can you imagine if we allow all our employees, they can access ChatGPT for free, Gemini for free, then suddenly they can upload the confidential data, from the company confidential data to the internet, for example, yeah. So before we allow them, our employee, to to do a kind of the AI innovations, we need to put policy and government first in the beginning.
All right, thank you. And last one, Pak Hans.
I would tend to agree with my fellow panelist here. I think, as I actually mentioned in my speech, I think innovation has to go hand in hand with governments. It's very often the case that that innovation is happening not in a straight line. And what is it that you want to regulate if it hasn't been invented yet? You have to see what is being invented, and then you have to come up very quickly follow up with the right governance. So I think it goes hand in hand.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hans. Okay, audience, this is the last session because we are running out of time. So, as we look forward for the vision, Indonesian Vision 2045, it's not longer whether the AI will be capable to reshape the economies. It certainly will. And the real question is whether we can govern it by collaborating with the government, industry, innovators, and also with the solution providers. And that's why we have to strongly align together to see the vision starting from the short-term and long-term goals of the Indonesian Vision 2045. Thank you for our distinguished panelists and all of you for being part of this event. Please give a round of applause to our distinguished panelist speakers.